Hi yogis, welcome back to my channel. Today's day 2 of my quarantine yoga series, I guess. Who knows how long it's going to go on, but we're all stuck inside, so I'm making yoga classes every day to keep myself entertained and hopefully give you something to do with your body. These are really uncertain times. A lot of our lives are changing really fast in ways that we did not anticipate. And so I think in these times, we all need a little bit of balance and a little bit of certainty in our lives. So today the class that I made is focused on balance. There's a lot of balancing postures with lots of time and space to center in and find ourselves again. Sorry about the background noise. There's a lot of background noise. I'm in my house. I don't have a yoga studio available, and there are men driving around in a truck outside talking really loudly. So sorry about that. It was a bit of an uncontrolled environment. But I hope you enjoy the yoga class. As for props, this time around, I would recommend having a block, or if you don't have a block, a book, or really like anything of that kind. I don't really use the block. I don't know what that was. I don't really use the block all that much in class, but it's nice to have it by your side. Same if you need a strap, or today I'm using a scarf as a strap because I don't know where I put my belt from yesterday. I apparently put it somewhere. So yeah, block and a strap if you want. But like always, I try to make classes that don't need props. So hopefully we can find something that works for everybody, whether or not you have props available at home. And other than that, I will see you on the mat. Okay, so for this class, we're going to begin seated. If you have a block or book or something kind of about this size, I would encourage you to put it in between your sit bones, and then we'll come to a nice cross-legged seat here on our blocks. The reason I'm encouraging you to use a block, those of us with tight hips, and I'm definitely in that category, it allows your knees to settle below your hips, allowing the hips to open so that they're not hinged up and tightening. But on top of that, even if you don't have tight hips, I think just at the beginning of practice, it's always nice to remind yourself that it's okay to use a prop and it's okay to take it a little bit easy. You don't always have to be going for the most extreme version or the most accurate version or perfect version of a posture. So if you're ready, sitting in a nice cross-legged posture, bring your hands out to your knees, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can have them folded in your lap. I like to have them on my knees. Seal your lips, starting to breathe in and out only through the nose. And then I want you to roll your shoulders back a few times, making the movement nice and dramatic. And as you do this, you're starting to lift up the chest, as if someone has attached a string to the top of your head and they're just pulling you ever so slightly toward the ceiling, bringing your posture just a little bit better. Maybe you tuck your chin just a little bit to release the neck, keep the spine column nice and straight. Maybe you roll your shoulders a few times in the other direction. And then I want you to softly close your eyes, with lips sealed, breathing in and out through the nose. And I want you to start to focus on the movement of your belly as you breathe. Not forcing it or doing anything intentionally. Just really feeling the movement of that belly, how it opens up when you breathe in, and how it contracts when you breathe out, ever so slightly. And as you're breathing here, just start trying to make your breath in and out the same length. So maybe you breathe in for 4 and out for 4. Focusing on the movement of that belly, the way it feels in your torso when you're breathing in versus when you're breathing out. Allowing your whole focus, your whole attention to be centered in on that one movement. The movement of your stomach, the movement of your abdomen. And then very gently, you can flutter your eyes open. And bring your fingertips down to the mat on either side of your hips. Exhale all the air out. And on your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, and maybe you bring them just to right here, or maybe you bring palms to touch overhead, whichever is more accessible to you and your body. From here, exhale all the air out. Inhale, stretch up, rooting down into your sit bones on that block or on the floor, stretching up toward the ceiling, and then exhale, linking breath to movement, bringing your fingertips lightly down to the mat as you exhale that final breath of air. And again, inhaling, sweeping arms up overhead, stretching up toward the ceiling. Exhaling, linking breath to movement, starting to create that unity in our body. Fingertips touch the floor. One more time, inhaling, palms come up and stretch up. Exhale, hold here, keeping hands up overhead. And on your next inhale, I want you to tip up and over to your left side, stretching along that side body, really trying to feel the stretch from the hip all the way up along the side of the arm. Exhale, brings you back center. Inhale this time over to the right side, and again feeling that stretch along the side body, noticing if one side needs the stretch more than the other. Exhale, center. Again, inhaling over to the left. And exhale, center. And one more time, inhaling over to the right. Exhale, center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, right hand comes to left knee, left hand behind. Inhale, up a little higher. Exhale, gentle twist. So you're really just shifting your shoulders open to the side. This doesn't need to be severe, it doesn't need to be an intense twist. Pushing against the knee to deepen just a little bit. Inhale, come center. And we'll do the other side. Left hand comes to right knee. Right hand behind. Inhale, up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, twist just a little deeper. Pushing against that knee. Exhaling all the air out, core is tight. And then inhale will come center. And then exhale, fingertips walk forward along the floor. Again, keep it gentle. You're not trying to really open up your body right now, but we're just gently opening everything up. And as you fold over here, I want you to notice, again, where are you feeling the stretch the most? Do you feel it in your hips? Do you feel it in your quads, knees, in your shoulders? Take a second to check in and really identify where you're feeling this. And then we'll slowly walk our hands up on an inhale. And then you can reach behind and come onto all fours. We'll put the block to the side. And here on all fours, I'm going to do a bit of a dramatic cat-cow. So first we'll start out with just a traditional cat-cow. Inhaling, face is going up to the ceiling, belly down to the floor. Exhaling, pushing that spine up toward the ceiling as you curl tailbone under, chin to chest. And then this time, I want you to maybe walk your hands a little bit forward on the mat. You can continue to just do cat-cow as I just taught it, or you can inhale and come forward into a nice cobra pose here. Legs are rested on the ground, arms are straight and long. Gaze can go to the ceiling if that's available to the neck. And then exhaling, coming all the way back into a child's pose. Stretching those arms long on the floor, feeling this deep stretch along the back. And inhaling, coming up and through and all the way long out to that cobra. Finding a really nice dynamic movement here where we're linking breath to movement. Exhaling, pushing back to that child's pose. And then we inhale one more time to cobra. Maybe even we take it into an up dog if we want to. And then exhaling, coming all the way back to that child's pose. And then swing those arms back behind you to touch your heels. And then bring those arms even back behind you to support you as you push up, squeezing the seat muscles, pushing those hips forward, maybe head tips back, using your fingertips for support. Exhale, lower that seat down. Come forward again into child's pose. One more time, inhaling, come forward into a nice cobra. You decide whether you want up dog or just a high cobra. Exhaling, pushing back into child's. Hands sweep back toward the heels. Inhale brings you up, fingertips tent behind you. Push those hips forward, tipping head back, squeezing your seat. And exhale, coming down to sit on your knees. I want you to bring your hands to rest on the thighs. Roll shoulders back, tuck chin, close your eyes. And then slide those hands forward, opening your eyes. Coming back to all fours. Maybe hands are a little bit out in front of you. Curl big toes under. Lift hips up and back towards up, downward facing dog. And here in your very first downward facing dog, I want you to bend really generously, one knee and then the other. You can do lots of little movements if you feel that wakes your muscles up. Or, what I like to do is a really big dramatic movement that allows my hips to tip to either side. And I don't really worry too much about how my back is open here. I let it be kind of just nice and whatever it wants to be, really, until I feel like I'm opened up. Then if we come to stillness, we're going to break down downward dog bit by bit, starting with the fingertips. Your fingertips and your middle knuckles of your fingers should be rooting down into the floor, almost like you're trying to push the floor away from you. Elbows, you want to rotate your elbows out so that the creases in your elbows are trying to face the front of the room. This can be quite difficult to maintain, but it allows the biceps to sort of pull in toward the face. Then, bend your knees a lot, keeping that hand rooted, those elbows twisting. Bend your knees a lot and push that belly back toward those thighs to open up the low back. Then try to straighten the legs. It's okay if they don't straighten. And heels sink down. The first downward dog of the day is always not going to be, it's never going to be the fullest expression of the pose, because this pose requires you to be very warm and very open to achieve a nice flexion in the spine. But allowing yourself to start to get there gently is important. And then from here, gaze goes forward in between the hands on an inhale. Step, step, step. Bring big toes together to touch. Get yourself a nice hamstring stretch. Maybe you put a little bend in the knees. And lower down. Inhaling here. And exhaling. Shifting your weight forward onto the balls of your feet to deepen that stretch just a little bit. And then bend your knees generously, and on your next inhale, roll all the way up to standing. And when you get to stand, take a few deep breaths here in mountain pose. And then on your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Maybe gaze comes up to the thumbs, maybe not. Depends if your neck wants to do that today. Exhale, lower all the way down, keeping legs kind of straight, but with a nice little micro bend. Fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale brings you all the way up. Hands come up together to touch. Gaze goes to the thumbs. Exhaling again, folding down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale this time, fingertips come down to a tent as you come up onto tippy toes and tuck down into a little tiny ball. Forehead to knees if that's available. Nice deep stretch along the back of the spine. Then inhale brings you all the way back up to a nice flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale. Arms come up to touch overhead. Exhale, fold down again. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, crouch down and curl up into that tiny little ball. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, sweeps you all the way up. And exhale, folding down again. We're going to expand this time. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, palms come down to touch the floor. As you pick up right leg, extend it long behind you and step it back so you're in a nice high lunge. Lower down to that low lunge. Inhale, sweep up. Deepening that stretch along that front of your hip flexor, squeezing the seat to support the muscle. Inhale. Exhale, extend the front leg long as you reach for the toes for a hamstring stretch. Deep breaths, breathing in and out through your nose. Then return that bend to front knee. As you kick up your back leg, reach behind you and grab for your foot. Getting a nice quad stretch. If this isn't available to you, I'd encourage you to just go for a nice hip stretch here. And then releasing the quad, curling back toes under so you're up in that high lunge again. Left foot goes back to meet the right, high plank. Lower your hips an inch. Inhale here. Then knees down, bend at the elbows. Come all the way down to the mat. Exhale all the air out. Then zip your legs together, push down into the floor with the tops of your feet as you inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. Curl big toes under, push up and back, downward facing dog. A few rounds of breath here. Checking in again on all those elements. Are you pushing down with your fingers? Are you trying to rotate those elbows out? How much is your spine, your belly pressing towards your thighs? Then from here, inhale, lift your right leg up high behind you. And exhale, bring that right knee forward and put up and into your tummy. Then inhale, put it right high behind you. Exhale, squeeze it into the tummy again, and then step it forward in between the hands. Lower left knee down to the mat. Curl, foot is flat. Inhale, stretch up. That nice hip opener. Exhale, straightens front leg as you reach forward. Getting a nice hamstring stretch here. Maybe you take one round of breath here. Then returning that bend to the right knee. As you pick up the left foot, reach back with right hand and grab. Feeling a nice opening in the quad. Kind of a nice opening in the chest here too. It's a little baby twist. And then release that foot. Pick up that back knee. Step forward. Big toes come to meet. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. And then inhale, sweeps you all the way up. I'm stepping back a little because I'm too close to my furniture. And exhale, we fold all the way down again. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, this time we plant the palms and step both feet back into a nice high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, knees can come down or bend at the elbows to lower all the way down. Flat to the mat. Big toes flat on the floor. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhaling. Lower down, then push up and back into a downward facing dog. Take 2 nice deep breaths here. Starting to feel the blood flow, starting to feel yourself warming up a little bit. And on your next inhale, lift right leg up high. And exhale. Hug it into that belly. Inhale, right leg up high. Exhale, right knee into the belly. Then step it forward in between those hands. And from here, really start to press down with that right foot as you bounce. Keep yourself nice and light on those back left toes. Start to tense your fingertips. And then float your fingertips. So now you're balancing just on the way to your legs. Inhaling, sweep yourself up into crescent lunge. Crescent lunge also can be quite intensive in a hip stretch, so if you give a little bend in that back left knee, it can help you loosen up a little bit in this posture. Deepening the bend in that front right knee, making sure the right knee is tracking just a little bit out toward the pinky side toe. Then from here, we're going to do kind of a dynamic movement. We're going to launch up into a balancing pose, into airplane. So hands are going to swing back, and left foot is going to bounce up. So from here, inhale, and then exhale. Arms sweep back, left foot is high. As you tip forward, trying to make your torso and your leg just about level. Make sure to lower your left hip. It's very tempting to pop the left hip open here for balance. Lower left hip down, arms are by your side. Gaze is at the floor. Core is strong. Right leg is strong. Remembering to breathe, keeping the mind nice and clear. And then inhale, another big dynamic movement. Inhaling up to standing one-legged mountain. Here you've got your left leg in an L in front of you. Arms are lifted. And we'll come into a nice tree pose. I can hear my roommate running around. To come into tree, I'll allow you to reach down, grab that left foot, and we'll go into I'm going to shift so you can see me. Coming into the kind of tree that I first practiced. It's not the tree everyone's kind of used to doing. So instead of putting the foot up here on the thigh, you're going to hook it into the crease between your hip and your groin, holding onto it with one hand, bringing the other hand to heart center. And allow that knee to start to push open. If you're very flexible and you can do this, you can let go with the other hand and bring both hands to heart center. That's not available to me because my quads are very tight. And wherever you are, just breathe. Being sure to squeeze the seat of that standing leg so your hip doesn't pop out to the side. Making sure that core is nice and strong. Chest is nice and lifted. Feeling tall, proud, and balanced. And then you can slowly release that foot and inhale back up to standing mountain. Staying where you are, stay with me. I know this is a lot on that one standing leg. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep back into that airplane. Oops. Maintaining that balance. Moving as slow as you need. Inhale here. Then exhale, lower back down into standing crescent. Take one breath here. And exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Sweep right leg up high behind you. Maybe we come through for a vinyasa. So you come forward, lower down to upward facing dog or baby cobra, whichever is available to you. Then curl big toes under, up and back, downward facing dog. Ready for the other side. We'll inhale this time, left leg up high. Exhale, he comes into belly. Inhale, left leg up high. Exhale, left knee into that belly. Then step it forward in between the feet. Once again, root down really hard into that right foot, or that front foot. And you're keeping yourself nice and light on the balls of your back foot. Then you start to lift up, tent the fingertips, then float the fingertips, and then inhale. We come to crescent lunge. Once again, deepening that bend in the front leg. Finding stability in the back leg. Gaze is forward and strong. Hips are nice and open. And then on your next inhale, prepare to lift off once more. Stepping up and sweeping those arms behind you. Dodging the furniture because you're in close quarters in your small house right now. Remembering to tip right hip down as you pick right hip up. Right leg up behind you. Trying to make yourself level, unless you're doing battle with your bedside table. And then inhaling into the transition, sweeping that right leg through, coming into a standing mountain, one-legged mountain. And then from here, reaching down, grabbing that right foot and bringing it into that crease, holding onto those right toes, starting to let that right knee push out and back, trying to open up this hip and get a nice quad stretch. Hands can come to heart center, one hand or both. As you settle in and start to notice which side is more flexible. My left side is much more flexible than my right, so this is a much more difficult side for me to hold. I feel it stretching in my legs even here. But either way, squeeze that seat on the standing leg. Lift that chest. Hold that gaze. And then slowly release that foot. Come back into standing mountain. And then start to tip forward and back into nice airplane pose. Remembering to lower that right hip, try to keep the hips level. Back foot can be pointed or flexed, really up to you. And then bend into that left knee as you step back into your high lunge. Inhale, arms up for crescent pose. Exhale, hands come down to frame the foot. Inhale, left leg high behind you. Exhale, come forward or meet in downward facing dog. Up dog. And exhale. Brings you up and back to downward facing dog. From here on your next inhale, gaze goes forward in between the hands. You can walk or even jump. Your hands and your feet in between the hands. Big toes come to touch. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, sweeps you all the way up. And exhale, hands come down by your side. We'll do 2 more balancing postures here because I'm all about balancing postures today. I'm pretty much all about balancing postures all the time. So, for this next one, it's going to be a balancing pose where there's a bunch of different options for how far you want to take it. But what we'll start by doing is rooting down that right foot into the earth. And what I mean by that is spread those toes nice and wide and then push them down into the earth. Really feel where your foot is connecting with the mat. Really allow yourself to connect. And then firm the muscles all up your right leg and in your seat to stabilize the hip and already be preparing yourself for that active balancing. Then I want you to inhale, arms up, left leg comes up high. And then I want you to reach down with your left hand on the inside of your leg and use your peace fingers to grab your big toe. If that's not available to you, an option would be to use a scarf or a strap or whatever you have. Even when you're standing, loop that down, around your foot like this. And as you inhale up holding that foot. So that allows you to get a little closer. Maybe you can reach almost, but not quite. So you can hold a strap just like that. Either way, whether you're using a strap or your 2 peace fingers, you're holding onto that big toe. Other arm can go high or out to the side. And now you have some options here. You can stay just like this. Maybe you try to open up to the side. Or if you want to go for a fuller extension, try to straighten that leg. Maybe you only get to here. Maybe you get a full leg out. Take a few breaths here. And then inhale, bring it back in. Exhale. Open out to the side. This time you'll really want to have your right arm out for balance as you start to open up to the side. Breathing. Really squeezing the muscles in that left leg to help keep it lifted. Then bend to bring it back in. And lower it back down. You shake out that right leg a little bit. Shake out the left. Take a deep round of breath. Bring yourself back to center. Then root down through that left foot, spreading those toes nice and wide. And inhale, lifting the right leg up high. Again, remembering to bring your strap with you if you need the strap to make this accessible. And exhaling, bringing those peace fingers down to wrap around your toes. As you come back up to standing, checking in with your body, even if you could do the full extension on the left side. Perhaps for the right side, this is it. Either way, inhaling here and just holding, or extending that right leg long in front of you. Really engaging the muscles in the core to support this movement as you also flex all the muscles in your leg to stay strong and tall, lifting up with your chest. Exhale back to center, opening up that hip to the side, and then inhale, opening up to the side, really allowing your chest to be open, making the movement as joyous and as big as you can, and then exhaling back to center, inhale and release. Take a deep breath, maybe you close your eyes, maybe even you bring hands to heart center here. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, pulling that core in nice and tight. And eyes open, hands come down to the side. From here, standing at the end of your mat, standing at one end of your mat, take a big wide step out to the side. Both toes are kind of pigeon-toed in right now. But take this is my left leg, take your left toes, point them toward the front of the mat. Try to keep just the tiniest little micro bend in this front knee. Don't lock it out completely. I have a tendency to lock my knees out completely. Right toe is flat. I'm actually going to back up a little so that I have enough space for what we're going to do. We're going to come into triangle pose first. So inhale, arms come up to shoulders, shoulder height, I mean. And then I want you to start to stretch forward and push that right hip back out. Only so far as is comfortable. You don't have to try to make it crazy. But just push that right hip back toward the back wall as you stretch forward until you've kind of reached the limit of your flexibility here. Then tip your arms like a T and bring that hand down wherever it comes. Maybe it comes all the way down here. Maybe it only comes to the calf. Use the core to support. So don't collapse down. Use the core to support and keep you open. And you bring your gaze either out in front of you or maybe up to the sky. Bringing that right hand a little bit more to the left. You're probably reaching this way, so a little bit more to the left. Core is in nice and tight, belly in. Gaze wherever is comfortable for you. Really pushing down equally into both feet to tip those hips open just a little bit more. The gaze can come down to the floor. You can stay here in triangle, or we're going to go for half moon, our final balancing pose of the day. So for half moon, you can step in that back right foot, reach down to the floor, or maybe you have a block. You want to reach down to a block to make the floor more accessible, and start to lift up that back right leg, really squeezing the muscles in the seat as you tip open. Tip open toward the sidewall, and then reach up high toward the ceiling. So you're trying to kind of flatten, like the back of your body is flattening against a wall. And when you get here, you can stay here, or you can try to very gently pick up the bottom hand. Ooh. And still with that bottom hand lifted, trying to flatten your back. Step back, that right foot back down. Come back to triangle pose. Then inhale all the way up. Arms stretch up overhead as you switch directions. Bring those left toes in. Right toes pointed out to the side. Then arms come straight out. Push left hip back. Right hand stretches forward. Then arms like a T. Lower down into triangle. Even here in triangle, we're trying to rotate our shoulders open and back. So left shoulder's going back toward the back wall. Right hand can even push in to help you deepen that twist. Bring left hand a little bit over to the right. Gaze can be up toward the thumb or out. Belly is tight, core is engaged here, you're not just drooping down. And from here, perhaps you want to come try half moon pose on this side, so stepping that left foot in a little bit. Reaching down again, using a block, or just tenting fingertips on the floor as you lift, left leg up, engaging the muscles in the seat, engaging the muscles in the legs, opening those hips, and then slowly start to lift up that left hand and opening up toward the back wall. And then maybe start to lift up that lower right hand. Ooh. It's a tricky one with lifting the right hand, but play with it as long as you need. And when you're ready, coming back into triangle pose, and then inhaling, coming up. Arms reach up overhead, both toes point in this time. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, arms come wide as you swan dive down, draping yourself over for a nice wide-legged fold. Bring your legs as wide as you need. Hands can come on the mat in front of you or wrap around your ankles. Keep a tiny micro bend in your knees and just relax here. Allowing your breath to be healing, bringing clean, fresh oxygen into your bloodstream, into your muscles, exhaling all the toxins out. With each exhale, you relax your muscles a little bit more, you deepen a little bit into the stretch. From here, bring your hands so they're underneath your shoulders. And then inhale up to a flat back so you're on tented fingertips. And then we're going to do a kind of dynamic movement. So only take it as far as you are comfortable. But you're going to start to bend into that right knee. Bring your fingers around to frame that right foot. And then if it's available to you, come up onto the left heel and squat down into Skandasana. In the fullest form of the pose, that right foot stays flat on the floor. But either way, you can keep your hands tented, fingertips tented. You can bring your hands to heart center and try to keep that left foot toes pointing toward the ceiling, which I'm not being very good at right now. Hands either at heart center or on the floor, shoulder and chest lifted, and trying to sort of settle back onto that right foot. Take one more breath here. Feeling that really deep stretch on the inside of the left leg. Then exhale, pushing up. Inhale here. And exhale, lower down onto the other side, squatting down onto the left leg this time. Right toes point up toward the sky. And again, balancing. Keeping fingertips on the floor or coming in. Hands at heart center. Whatever feels good for you. Whatever your practice wants at this time. And then from here, we'll inhale back up to center. Then exhale, sweep those hands around to frame the left foot. Bring left toes to point forward toward the end of the mat. Come up onto the ball of your right foot. Inhale here. Exhale, step big toes both together. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bring hands flat to the mat, and you can step your toes back, or if you want to practice hopping backwards, hands come flat on the mat, come up onto your tippy toes, curl into a little tiny ball, kind of like we did earlier. Inhale, and then exhale, and when you land, it's important to land with nice loose elbows, not locked elbows. So inhale here, exhale, hop. You'll see you land with nice loose elbows. Low plank. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, flip those toes. Downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. One more big inhale. Come up onto your tippy toes. Then exhale, lower down to your knees and sink back into a child's pose. Then when you're ready, we'll come forward all the way to lay on our bellies in crocodile pose. In crocodile pose, your hands are in between your face like a pillow, and you can rest on either one cheek or the other. Doesn't matter. Your big toes are wide, kind of toward the edges of the mat. Your total body is relaxed. If you have back problems, this is a good alternative to Savasana at the end of your practice. If you find Savasana maybe creates some cramps or problems for you, you could always choose to lay in crocodile pose instead. But for now, we're going to do a little bit of back strengthening work. So the first one we're going to do is the classic Superman pose. So starting with arms out in front, legs long behind, squeeze the legs together. Inhale, lift your arms and your legs. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift 1 inch higher. And exhale, release. Now reach your arms long back behind you. Bend into your knees. Reach back for one foot and the other, grabbing from the outside of the feet. Going into bow pose, which can be very intense. If you can't reach your feet, I would recommend just doing baby cobra, like we practiced at the beginning of class. But if you can reach your feet, if your quads are allowing that, bring your forehead down onto the floor. Exhale all the air out. And then inhale, start to kick back into your feet. And that should naturally open your chest and lift you up. I want you to rock forward a little so you're on your belly rather than your hips. As you kick up a little bit higher, allowing that chest to be nice and open. Kick up, bring big knees together. Kick up, 1 inch higher. And exhale, release down. Let everything go. Arms by the side. Take a nice deep breath. And then bend those knees again. We'll try the same posture one more time. Again, grabbing those feet from the outside, bringing your knees together to touch or as close as you can get it. Forehead lowers down to the floor. Exhale all the air out. Then inhale, opening up that chest, really allowing those shoulders to be nice and loose as you kick forward, rocking under your belly, bringing knees together. Gaze is at the sky. Inhale, 1 inch higher. And exhale, release. This time, turn your chin in the other direction, whatever you didn't do the time before. Notice how that feels a little different. And then bring your hands under your shoulders. Push up and back. Come down for a quick child's pose. Nice forward fold to help release the low back after all those back bends. Allowing your stretch to be nice and long. Breathing deeply into whatever you're feeling. And then we'll come around to lay on our backs. Keeping those knees in a nice little bend. Getting ready for bridge pose. Again, your fingertips should be able to touch the back of your heels. If that's not possible, that's okay. You can keep it a little wider out. Not a problem. Inhaling here, exhale. The first thing I want you to do before you even start doing bridge, tuck your hips so that you're pushing the small of your back against the floor. If there's still a little arch between your back and the floor, you're not ready to go into bridge. The first thing I want you to do is engage your core to push your low back into the floor. Hands pressed flat on the mat. Inhale. And then exhale, keeping that engagement in the abs. Squeeze the seat to pick the hips up off the floor. Coming up into a nice bridge pose. Remembering to breathe here, keeping that nice tucked feeling. Maybe you squeeze your seat, push into those heels, lift up 1 inch higher, bringing that chest almost to your chin. And then your next exhale, lowering down. Maybe you windshield wiper the legs just a little bit, release things, release the tension. And we'll do one more kind of more dynamic posture before the end of class. It's going to be shoulder stand, but there are various ways you can work up to shoulder stand. It's not all or nothing kind of pose. So I'm going to scooch down to the end of my mat so that I have enough space to do this. The first version that you can do is a very simple legs up the wall. Lift both legs up as straight as you can get them and hold here. This is an inversion. Your legs are much higher. They're higher above the rest of your body, so you are getting that different experience of being inverted, of being kind of upside down. Another way you could advance from there, if you have a block, you can take your block, come up into a little mini bridge. You can take your block and put it right under your low back in your seat, and then do legs up the wall. I love this one. I think this one just feels like I could hang out here for the rest of my life. It's so relaxing, allows the blood to kind of drain out of the muscles in your legs, and it feels really nice in your reproductive area. At least I think it does. It feels very like it's letting things go. So this is a nice inversion for you to do. It's much more passive. It's not scary. So those are some options. If you want to start getting up in the air a little bit more, the next option that you have is to kind of bend your knees and hop and catch in a nice low catch. And then keep your legs straight and try to get it so you're looking at your toes. So you're really supported here on your elbows. Your elbows are supporting your hips. And you're just looking at your toes and keeping those legs nice and straight. That's one version. And then if you want to go for the full version of shoulder stand, don't look left or right during it. And be ready to feel a bit of a choking sensation in your throat. That's okay. It's part of the posture. So you'll hop up just like you did before, catching your hips. But instead of just staying there and settling down onto your elbows, you're going to start to straighten your legs. Ooh. And work your hands down your back. And then when you're ready, pushing those legs straight, engaging that core until you can't see your toes. I had a teacher once who said that you should stay here for 25 breaths. But I won't make you do that today. Instead, what I'll advise is coming into plow. So starting to lower those knees. You can shift your hips forward to help counterbalance. Lowering those toes until you feel them come, touch the ground. This is actually a forward fold, so you'll feel a lot of stretch on the hamstrings and in the back, especially the low back. Bring your knuckles together. Extend them long. Really try to lift up through those hips. And then slowly, ever so slowly, rolling that back down to release. Coming into legs up the wall. And then slowly lowering those legs down. Coming into a nice Shavasana. Just for a moment to let the muscles relax. Shoulder stand is a very intense posture. It can cause a lot of strange feelings in your spine. Some people like to come into fish pose, coming up onto those elbows, tipping that head back to rest on the floor, kind of doing a bit of a counter movement to what you just did. This especially is helpful if you felt a lot of tightness in your neck and in your throat during shoulder stand. Either way, when you're ready, go into some much more simple, gentle stretches to close out our practice. So bringing your feet in so you're up on your knees. Pick up your right leg. left leg. Cross left knee over, left ankle over left knee. We're going for a stretch in that outer hip. So if you feel this here, then this is where you stay. If you want to deepen it, you can pick up that right knee, thread your hands through your leg, around the back of your right thigh, pull in. I find shifting my weight over to the right side, away from the bent knee, can help deepen the stretch. Just breathing here, in and out through the nose. I'd encourage you to close your eyes. Really just enjoy this nice, satisfying sensation of stretching. And then very slowly lowering that right leg down back onto the floor with that right foot. Releasing the left leg. And then picking up right leg this time. Crossing right ankle over left knee. Again, if this is the stretch for you, that's beautiful. You should just stay here. Or if you need a little bit more, threading those fingertips through. And just pulling it into your chest. Again, shifting over to the left or shifting to the right. Seeing which way deepens the stretch for you. And coming back to the breath. Coming back to the way your belly feels as it rises and falls in this posture. Allowing yourself to just enjoy this. Use this stretch as a treat. And slowly lowering that left foot back down onto the mat. Right foot comes down as well. Then bring the soles of your feet together, knees come out wide for a nice butterfly stretch. Opening up those hips and the groin. A gentle kind of opening. I like to bring my hands to rest on my hip bones or like right on the flesh, right on the inside of my hip bones. I just find that to be a comforting place to have the hands during this stretch. Sinking down into that breath again. With hands here, you can really get in touch with the movement of your body as you breathe. Allowing yourself to be totally relaxed. Then using your hands to support the outside of your thighs, bring your knees together. Hug those knees really tightly inside into your chest. And then exhale. Bring your legs out long on the mat. Arms long beside. Palms face the ceiling. Maybe tuck your chin just a little to release the neck. Allow your breathing to come slow and natural. Not trying to make it soft, not trying to make it long, just letting it be. Let yourself sink down into this feeling. And this is where I'll leave you alone in your Shavasana. I'd encourage you to stay here for as long as you need. This is your relaxation time. But either way, thank you for practicing with me. And I hope I'll see you again soon. Namaste.